Welcome to our brand new official club podcast, all about ours. I'm Simon Cheshire from the QPR media team, and as always, I'm joined by former Rangers winger, England international and club ambassador Andy Sinton. Since, how are we?
I'm really good. How are you?
Perfect, thank you. Excited to get going. And then our new podcast will be covering all things QPR and football related, and hopefully we'll have a few laughs along the way. We'll be providing you with monthly episodes with a host of former R's giving us an insight into life in W12 and hopefully share a few QPR stories along the way. All About Ours will be available on our website, YouTube, Recast, SoundCloud and Spotify channels, so you have plenty of options to tune in and get your QPR fix wherever you are. Now, to kick things off, having made 195 appearances, scoring 13 goals in all competitions for the R's during 3 separate spells, we're delighted to be joined by former winger Lee Cook.
Good to be here. Good to be here, Simon. Andy, as always.
How are you?
I'm good, mate.
How's your golf?
Good. Golf's good.
Yeah, as always. Yeah.
Golf's good. Birthday yesterday. I'm 39, so I feel really old. But my golf's getting better with age, so I'm happy. I'm happy with that. Yeah.
Right, let's get straight to it. First of all, last season, from the outside, Lee, what was it like? What was your sort of take on it?
It was. I mean, I didn't get down here as much as I would have liked last season, but obviously, I always keep an eye out and see what's going on. And it was a pretty strange season in the fact that I think it was one game in particular. We played Wycombe away. I think we drew. I think we went down to 4th bottom.
Yeah.
And it was the first sort of time that my friends that I speak to were like questioning Mark Warburton, and I've got to admit I was probably agreeing with them to an extent where the results weren't happening. Although we was playing alright in certain games, we weren't getting results. I remember Bristol City was a typical example where we outplayed them, we lost. So it was, I think the January window, bringing in Charlie in particular, didn't save him. It just helped the changing room, and what we all thought of the performances bringing the results did come. So yeah, I mean, we finished the season very strong, and you've got to say going into this season, finishing from last season with the signings made this summer, there's a sort of a vibe around here now that we've got a good chance of getting in the playoffs this year.
Have you ever sort of been in that situation where an experienced player has come in and changed the season?
Yeah, I wouldn't say coming in from another club to change a season. I think when you're in a rut, managers tend to either throw in young kids to see if they can do something, or they go back to the more experienced ones. It happened with Mark Bircham before, when he sort of got left out of pre-season and they were trying to out him. And we had a terrible start to the season and ended up bringing him back into the team. So yeah, I mean, then the steady heads and the reliable heads always help you in them situations, but it's such a small margin in this game, and if you can just get a forward in that puts the point back in the net, makes all the difference.
If I can just comment there as well, Lee's mentioned Charlie coming in. I remember saying at the time Charlie would give you goals, because that's what he does better than most or any at this level. But I actually felt he would come in and lift the dressing room and pull people along with him. And I think that's what we saw, because the second half of the season, if you look at the points per game, I think we got 47 points from 24 games. From New Year onwards, Charlie had a big part of that. Credit to the club, credit to the board, for going and getting someone like Stefan Johansson, who I thought was really instrumental and showed real quality and class. The way he played, and the others who came in, Sam Field, Geordie Device, and the guys who got there would just seem to get lifted. And the second half of the season was, I think that's why everyone's so optimistic and everyone's enthused.
We were a bit disappointed we missed out on the playoffs in the end, weren't you?
I always thought that was probably too far away, but it's much better as a Rangers fan, an ex-player connected to the club, whatever we are, when you're going into the end of March and you've still got a chance, rather than going at the end of March and you're just playing to
season out.
I don't think you're ever just playing to see the season out, but I agree with what Lee's saying. There's nothing really at stake. We had something at stake this year, but credit to Mark, credit to his staff, credit to the players, credit to the board, credit to everyone at the club for the second half of the season. And if we can continue that, bright future.
And then after that, we sort of drew a line after the season, didn't we? After the Luton game, and then it was the Euros. You were sort of straight into it. Obviously, we had Lyndon and Nico out there, but what did you make of the Euros as a whole, Lee?
Oh, well, I put a stone and a half on, so I hated it because every night of the week I cracked open a couple of Moretti's because I was just loving the tournament. It was like, I said to Natalie before, I said, by the way, the next probably 8-9 days, the first bit is going to be 2 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock, so the main room is mine. I'll be watching all the games, and I absolutely loved it. I think it's one of my favourite ones, actually, although there weren't many fans in some stadiums. I think just not having fans for a long time, and then switching on a Denmark game, and it was packed, and it was a bit weird, and I was like, this is amazing. Like, it was a full stadium. And then all the things that was happening throughout the tournament, it was just, Switzerland beating France, and it was just, I thought it was a fantastic tournament.
What did you make of it being in different countries? Do you think that benefited certain teams?
Yeah, I think it did, and I thought it was a bit strange, but it's the world we're sort of living in today, innit, I suppose. And England did have an advantage, but it's probably why we did get to the final in the end, but we just couldn't quite get over the line, could we, again?
I thought it was a great tournament. Really enjoyed it. Lightly, but without the Moretti's.
What's it like since playing in a major tournament like that? So you did with England.
I played in '92. It was completely different. Sound. It was a tournament for 8 teams. Two groups of 4. Top 2 qualified. It was a tournament that started, and within 2 weeks it was over. So completely different. If you go back to this one, loved it. Didn't get too excited in the group stages. If you look at England, did enough to get through the group, a little bit inconvincing, but through. Then it really kicks off, because we got Germany. All that goes with the German game. I thought we played ever so well, 40-odd thousand on Wembley. I remember watching it with my lad. We're 1-0 up, and Thomas Muller goes through to make it 1-1. And if you want any player in the world on a 1-on-1, you're going to say, you back Thomas Muller. He misses. And I remember then turning to my lad, watching, and go, you know what? We might win this because of little moments like that. So you go from Germany. I thought we cruised through the Ukraine game, never underestimating an international game, but that was comfortable as it can be. Then you got Denmark at home, I remember getting asked, someone said, because Italy were already in the final, someone said, do you think we'll beat Italy in the final? I went, we've got to beat Denmark, because Denmark won a hell of a run. They swept along with the emotion with Christian Eriksen, etc., etc. And they give us a really hard game, but we got over the line, and you dream, and you're in a final. I don't know what Lee thought about the final, but I'm watching it. Dream start, Luke Shaw scores. But after about 20 minutes, I'm sitting watching, I'm thinking, Italy are just coming into the game, they're getting stronger, they're dominating the ball, they're dominating the territory, they're dominating everything about the game. No surprise when it went 1-1. Then you're thinking, who's going to get the winner, or is it going to go all the way? It goes all the way, and we have heartache.
We done the same, didn't we, against
Croatia?
Yeah. We took the lead early and just sat back, and all through the tournament it was sort of negative tactics, but we got to the final, and in that sense it's sort of like, he's done well. But when you look at, even when you look at Italy, I think even if Spain had beat Italy in the semis, I think it'd have been very difficult to beat any of them teams. Belgium, Italy, Spain, the way they play, the attacking way they play with the players they got, it was always going to be a feat for us to win it. So, finishing second,
when it sort of gets to penalties as well in the end.
Yeah, I mean, again, the penalties, everyone's looking at them, and have they picked the right? Has he picked the right players? Why did he bring them on without touching the ball? Do I put a 19-year-old on the 5th penalty? I just think he thought everything he's done through this whole tournament's worked, and he rolled the dice one more time and come unstuck at the last roll. But them lads are learned from that experience. I mean, to have that experience of a penalty final shootout at the age of 19, imagine them when they're in their mid-20s. I think the future is really bright for us, and we just need to, be a bit more attacking with the talent we got. That's all I would say about it. That's the only negative I can think of the whole tournament, is that we were just a bit too defensive minded and not I don't know what's the word. Just didn't take enough gambles. Going
Do you
forward.
see that team lead? Do you see the England team? A lot of young, kids. that team or that squad can only probably get better as it grows together. And the introduction and what Gareth has shown, he's not scared to chuck some youngsters in. Don't matter who you play for, don't matter how many caps you got, don't matter if someone who's got a so-called bigger name and playing for a bigger club, he will play people. And I just think as an England supporter, I think there's a lot of optimistic, like Lee says, because I think that team squad can get better. I'll caveat though, I think France will probably get better, Belgium might get better, Germany might get better, Spain will on a resurgence, Holland will come again, so maybe that was our best chance. I hope I'm wrong though.
These are the things, because you sort of, every nation, like I said, Italy, Spain, but you look at their teams, the way they play is always going to be the way we play, because our strength really is our attacking players. Really. I mean, I know we kept so many clean sheets, but in terms of going forward, you look at the talent we've got, and even after the Euros, Grealish has gone to City for 100, isn't he? I think that's finalising the day. You've had Sancho coming for 80 million. You've got Foden. What's he worth? Yeah. And then you've not even mentioned Sterling. You've not even mentioned Rashford. And it's sort of, with all that sort of talent, I think they need to let them off the reins a little bit more, and then maybe we can. I mean, Spain, they didn't really care, did they? I mean, what was the game in the quarters? 3-3, went into extra time, 5-3. But imagine being a supporter of that nation, how exciting that would be. We're sitting there. I mean, the Germany game was the best one for me. That was the best, like how it felt. That's the same as Andy. After that game, I thought, hold on, we got a chance here, because.
But the draw opened up as well, didn't it? Some of the big boys went in.
We were like, oh, hold on, this could be it. But yeah, the future's definitely looking better for us, that's for sure.
From a sort of QPR perspective, we saw obviously Kyle Walker, and you mentioned Raheem Sterling. Are they lads that you knew from your time here in W12?
Yeah, well, Raheem come through the ranks here, didn't he? Everyone knows. I mean, I think I was 20, I would have been 24. I was just about to leave when he come in training with the first team, and yeah, I mean, but Peter Ramage, he chopped him in and out, and Rambo was like, oh my god, this kid, he was tiny, but he didn't care. Rambo gave him a couple of digs as well, and he didn't care, and just give me the ball. And we all knew from then. I mean, he went to Liverpool, and we all kept an eye on him, thinking how well he's going to do there. In the youth team there, he was smashing hat-tricks in every week, and you could just see he was going to break through. And obviously Carl come here on loan, had a good little loan stint here, so yeah, I'm pleased to see them boys doing well. Sterling had a great tournament, didn't he? But I think he could have had an even better one if we'd have played a bit more free-flowing attacking football. But still, yeah, he's going to be a big player for England in the next World Cup, and Sterling, he's probably going to be our main man.
And he's labelled obviously since the boy from Brent, and that's an area that QPR are trying to inspire our local generation, aren't they?
Well, we're active in that, our community trust. Andy Evans and his team do brilliant work across all the boroughs in the area. Brent is one, but it's interesting what Lee says about, if you go back to Raheem, the world star he is now, the tournament that he had, to think he started here and Lee played with him and trained with him. So as a club, you're always delighted when young kids go on and make a career for themselves and do so well. You're egging them on, always keep an eye on them, and as I say, he's done phenomenally well. He's playing for a side, we've won the league 3 times in the last 4 years. What's his record for England? He's got 16 goals in his last 21 games or something for England. It's phenomenal. And how can I say this? There's still an element of people that give him a little bit of stick and criticism. I just don't get it. He's done absolutely brilliant. Yeah. And things he does away from the game. We should be lauding someone like Raheem Sterling. That bright kid, great player, and still at an age where he can get better and better.
And only a few months or a few weeks after the Euros finished pre-season, and we're back into another season, we go again sort of attitude. What's pre-season like now compared to what it was like back when you were starring for the others, Andy?
It's probably a lot more scientific now, and certainly diets and refueling techniques is probably Lee will come into that in a minute, I think, but completely different. Years ago when I was coming through in QPR, a lot of the stuff was done, long distance runs. I remember going Richmond Park up hills, etc. A lot of it's done with the ball now. It's all monitored, it's all on the heart rates, it's all on the GPSs, how far they cover, individual programs, so it's completely different. I actually used to love pre-season because I used to see it day one. I used to come back fit, so I used to train on my own. I used to come out and go, so right, I'm going to be ahead of the rest. whether it was or not, that was my aim. And I always had day one, I used to see the start of the season. That's what I'm aiming towards. I used to hate going away. I used to hate being away for 7 days at universities and overseas. So much time you had to kill in your room, etc., etc. So that was the downside of me. But pre-season is completely different now, and this one's been a bit short. There hasn't been as many games as what we had. 3 games and one behind closed doors, etc., etc. So, but looking at the boys, the way they perform pre-season, they look ready. But so it's completely different. I don't know what Lee's thoughts
bring
on
you in
pre-season.
There. 2005 was pretty synonymous with QPR fans, wasn't it? That pre-season.
Yeah, I mean, Andy sort of hit the nail on the head. I didn't used to like going away either for the long weeks, because there's a lot of time you've got to kill. We didn't have phones then that you could go on. It was literally, if you were lucky enough to have a laptop, you could maybe watch a DVD or something, but it was literally sitting in your room with a TV remote and a telly chatting to your roommate. But that all changed when we went to Ibiza. We were down the beach, sunning ourselves, getting ready for the next night out. But no, it was a wicked trip, and it actually we done all right that season. We started off okay, and it was a bit of a team building sort of trip.
Yeah.
Is that what you call it?
And it really actually worked, because we become really close on that trip. It was, we had an older group and a younger group, which there'd always been a little bit of friction on, and everyone sort of come together on that trip. So it was, it served some little purpose, I suppose. But in terms of dieting and stuff, I think that started coming in as I was just starting. It was about 1999, and I remember I signed for Watford, and when I was in the youth team there, you had to write your dietary down of what you'd eaten through the day. And I moved in with my granddad, actually, just around the corner from here, because my mum and dad couldn't get me to training. I didn't drive, I was only 17. And I've grown up on it. I was having a fry up every morning. So my granddad would get up and cook me breakfast, and it would be, 2 rashers of bacon, sausage, eggs, bacon, tomatoes, all that sort of stuff. And I had to write it down on the sheet, and they couldn't believe what I was eating. And they actually gave me a strict diet regime that I sort of had to stick to. At the time, you don't feel that, because you're training every day, you didn't think you can eat what you like, really, but you actually can't.
Is that sort of like ruling younger kids out of football then, probably the less privileged sort of children, or is that giving?
When you get into the pro game, because you're talking when you play professionally, it's a completely different level to playing at any youth team level or under 15s. When I made my debut, I couldn't breathe for the first 10 minutes. You can't explain the tempo and the pace of
It's
a
quite
first
funny.
team fixture.
You mentioned a sort of a year there, 1999, I think.
Yeah.
I was at Spurs the year before. I was still there in '99, but the year before, Christian Gross came in, foreign coach, new to the English game. Pre-season, we went to Switzerland. We had us doing 3 training sessions a day. Like the English guys were going, "What's going on here?" But 6:30 we were up for a run around the 5K run around the lake. Compulsory breakfast, which wasn't what Lee was talking about. It was your fruit and your cereal and your healthy stuff. Have an hour in your room, training as normal at 11 o'clock. You do your 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Back for lunch, which was salad and protein and stuff like that. Hour in your bedroom, and back out at 4:30 to train again. 3 training sessions. You were shattered come the night time. At night time, there would be an analysis session, or a DVD of whoever we're going to play, or your last game, etc. And I think that's where it's changed, because I remember my pre-season being away. You'd get up, you'd have whatever you want. Didn't even have to have breakfast if you didn't want. You'd go and train. Back for lunch, you go to bed in the afternoon, because as Lee says, there was nothing else to do. Night time, what we doing, lads? Should we go for a walk? Should we pop in the local cafe? Should we go to have a half a lager, etc., etc.? And so it's all more thought through now. And the games change hugely, and that you just got to see the support staff around groups of players, haven't you?
Yeah.
So players have got everything they need now to give them the best possible chance to perform at the best level they can.
And that's sort of what pre-season is all about, isn't it?
Well, pre-season, it's about
preparation.
It's about, first of all, you get yourself fit. You come back on end of June. You're getting ready for the start of August. I said to you, that was always in my mind. What's the first game? Who we got? That gives me something to aim towards. Where am I in terms of my fitness? Where am I in terms of my performance? Have I got to do a little bit extra on my own? then you look at the managers and the coaches. They look at the squad, and does Lee Coote need extra minutes? Does he need less minutes? Does he need to be monitored? Does he need pushing a little bit? And that's where it's all geared up to the start. But it's about getting yourself fit, getting yourself in the best condition as a group.
How important are the games? So obviously Rangers that we played, Man United 1-4-2.
I think they're really important, Sam. I'm not one of these people, and I'm here to get shot down by anyone. I hear coaches and managers saying, "No, it's only pre-season. The result don't matter." I don't agree with that. I think you're gearing up toward, and the closer you get. So we're playing Man United a couple of weeks ago, and we played Leicester last Saturday. Those players have got 7 days to show Mark Warburton they're the right man to play against Millwall. And Lee might play really well individually, but if he's not part of a winning team, the manager might go, "Okay, I might play a different way." And Lee, you might have to. So he might play well, but the team doesn't knit together cohesiveness, so he might miss out. So individually and collectively, I think pre-season games are huge. I get it. You're not playing for 3 points. You're not playing to get in the top 6. You're not playing to stay above the relegation. But you're playing to get yourself going. And don't underestimate the performances against United, Leicester, what it does for the fans either. Because the fans will come, and fans aren't silly. They'll say, "Well, it's Man United. Man United haven't got their big hitters." But I tell you what, they go away enthused by what they've seen from a Rangers side, ready for what's going to happen starting on Saturday.
Lee, you were here as a fan against the Man United game, and what was it from your point of view? What was it like?
I thought it was a great performance, especially first half. Second half's tough to judge. All the kids were coming on for them, etc. But the first half against a good side, we played really well. And Ilya's chair, first half. I mean, not many people sit Basaka on the floor. He'd done it twice, and it was like, wow, he's been on fire pre-season.
Yeah.
He seems to be drifting out in one positions, which I spoke about last year actually, and he's such a danger when he gets in them positions, and he's looking really sharp. But as a team, they're all looking they're relatively fit. But yeah, first game of the season is always tough. It's Millwall. There's always that little bit of nerves on the first game.
You never know what you're going to get.
You just never know what.
Never know.
Yeah, it's
not a bad game, is it, to kick things off though?
But the pressure now of having a good pre-season, especially on the team and the manager, is that when I left here after the game, everyone was going mad. Get your money on us. We're going to win the league. We're going to win the league. And I think there's a lot of expectation because we've beat Man United in the pre-season friendly that we're going to be successful this year. But league games are completely different. We need to be consistent throughout the whole season to have a chance of getting the playoffs, because this year's going to be tough. There's some good sides, the ones coming down. Yeah. You've got to say they're probably favourites to bounce straight back up West Brom and Fulham, isn't it? What 2 squads they've got? Yeah. And then there's what you could probably name 12 teams that could get into that playoffs. So it's going to be really tough. But I'm pretty confident this year in being able to do it from what I've seen in pre-season, and more importantly, the end of last season.
Obviously, Millwall have got Matt Smith up front. We want to know what sort of attributes, qualities he's got. But what's it like? It's the first time he comes back with a crowd here at Kaya Prince. What's that like, sort of returning to your former club?
Well, I think he'll be fine. Smith, he didn't leave on bad terms.
Not quite the reception you used to get against Watford.
I think he'd be all right.
Or the one I got when I first come back here with.
Andy's not happy about that.
With Cheshire Wednesday, I got absolutely slaughtered by all the QPR fans. But I have to say, it was only the first time. After that, it was great. But Matt Smith, I think, served the club. I know he served the club well. Scored goals, scored important goals. Divides opinion sometimes, Matt. But I tell you what, if Millwall put balls in the box, we're going to have to be at our best to defend if he plays or if he comes off the bench. So looking forward to seeing Matt. Hope he has a lovely day, but hope he goes home really disappointed on Saturday night.
And then obviously crowds are back. It's the first time since February 2020 we've got a full or expecting crowd here at Kaya Prince.
Yeah.
What's it like here, coming out full across that white line, and you hear the whole stands?
Man U was
loud, wasn't it?
It was loud, yeah. They brought a few, didn't they? And there was, what was the attendance that day? Do we know? What was it?
10,
11,
under
7? Yeah. And even then, it was just, it's been so strange, isn't it, not having the fans and that. It's been really, really weird. But maybe rocking here on the weekend, London Derby, what a first game to have. Millwall at home, couldn't probably ask for anything better in terms of atmosphere. because they'll feel their end out, no doubt.
Yeah.
What's it like playing Millwall? You played against them a few times for us.
Them games against them, God, they're probably the best. Them and West Ham, I remember being the best atmospheres down here. I remember one year, but the guy threw the ball in my face. Syria got sent off. I don't know if you remember that. He played for Mill. He had the dreadlocks. He had the longest throw in the league, and my job was to stand on his toes. And he launched it straight in my face. Yeah, he got a straight red. And then Birch used to get stick from him because of his hair on his arm, the line, and all that. And it was just mental atmospheres. But we always seemed to do all right against them. There was a lot of draws, but I think we beat them Saturday. Oh, for sure. Yeah,
set you on the right way, won't it? A win.
Yeah.
Well, that's, you start a new season. If you say, what do you want from Saturday? A win. I think it's great if you can win your first game of the season. It's a bonus if you play really well and you entertain. I think if you can just get 3 points on the board, it just sets you up. You don't want to lose your first game, I believe. Millwall, tough test. Gary Rowett, since he's been there 2 years, done a great job. They finished 11th and 8th, I think. They've made some good signings. Benik Afobe, George Saville, people like that. The kid from Arsenal who's gone in on loan. They've made some good signings. So they'll come in confident. They'll come in for the first time just like us. They'll have 3,000 almost behind the goal. It promises to be. I thought the United game was a special sort of day, just to see 10 or 11,000. And it was a little bit. I find myself getting a little bit emotional sometimes. Just because what everyone's been through. So Saturday promises to be brilliant. Can't wait. But I hope come 5 o'clock, we're not going home, not walking up South Africa right down the dumps with having lost the game. But yeah, like Cookie, I'm really confident in what I've seen, and I think we'll win the game.
Of course, obviously the return of supporters isn't all about celebrating, is it? We've obviously got to reflect on those who won't be joining us, which is obviously a sad moment. There's something you sort of wanted to say since, wasn't there, from the club?
Well, as a country, we've come through 17 months, 18 months, unprecedented times. Football played in front of empty stadiums. The game without the fans is not the same for me. But if you step back from football, it's a bigger picture here. You think of the families who've lost loved ones. You think of families who were separated. You think of families who couldn't see each other. All the things we just used to take for granted for 18 months. And I think you'll see something on Saturday where everything comes together. And I think everyone in the stadium will go through a mixture of emotions. There'll be people in the stadium, there'll be an empty seat a couple of rows away, where someone's sadly not with us. There'll be someone who through illness still can't come to the game. There'll be some people who, for whatever reason, don't want to come to the game. There'll be some people who'll be there here at 11 o'clock because they've missed it so much and they can't wait to get here. So I think every emotion's going to be encountered on Saturday. So those families who've lost people through this horrendously horrible time, I'll speak for Cookie and anyone connected to the club as well. Our thoughts are with every single one of them. It's been a horrible time, but let's hope. We seem like we're on our way out. Let's hope we can continue. Let's hope we don't have any backward steps in terms of restrictions being in place. And let's hope we can grow together. QPR, fans are massively important. Vitally important. Let's hope we have a great season and share it together and see how successful we are come May.
Cookie, will you be here on Saturday?
Fortunately not, no. But I know a lot of people that are coming and they're double excited for it. And I looked at the fixture actually. The first few games are actually, we've not got a bad start in terms of the fixtures.
Neil Warnock's, Middlesbrough, pretty early on as well.
I think Barnsley's our next home game. I think Coventry's in there, innit?
Yep.
So that, there's not an easy game in this league. That's one thing. But in terms of if you have pick fixtures, we actually ain't got that bad a start. And if we can get a good start, which springboards us on, then that's what we need. So yeah, they're all looking forward to it. Shame I can't be here to see it, but yeah, hope we get a win and hope you all enjoy it and just suck it all in, because we've not had it for a while, and it's going to be, like Andy said, really exciting. And hopefully it's a full house.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thanks both of you for joining us.
Pleasure.
And hopefully we have something to cheer about on Saturday, and we have a fantastic season ahead. This has been All About Ours, the new club official podcast.